Ever catch yourself saying something totally familiar and then bam? It's like, wait, there's more to this,
So
right?
it's like you're hearing it for the first time.
Exactly. And today's one of those days because we are diving deep into a phrase we probably all use without even thinking.
Hit me with it.
Give us this day our daily bread. Sounds simple enough, but come on.
There's got to be more going on there, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just those few words open up a whole world of meaning. We're talking about basic needs, dependence, even the nature of faith.
And to guide this deep dive, we're looking at, well, it's almost too perfect, a transcript from an episode of Our Daily Bread.
Ironic, right? But hey, I'm all for a little serendipity.
Me too. And then get right into it. This isn't just about asking for toast with our breakfast. This single line from the Lord's Prayer, they argue, is about so much more than just filling our stomachs.
Exactly. They go straight to this idea that it's about understanding what we really need as human beings on all these different levels.
Okay, so break that down for me. We've got the obvious, we need food to survive, right? Sure, that's the starting point. But the transcript pushes us to think beyond the literal. When we ask for daily bread, it can also represent this yearning for something that sustains us on a deeper level, spiritually and emotionally.
Okay, so it's like, yeah, I need to eat, but I also need a sense of purpose, a feeling of connection. Those deeper things we all crave.
Exactly. It's acknowledging that we have needs beyond just the physical. We hunger for security, for belonging, for a sense of meaning in our lives. And those needs are just as real, just as vital as our need for food and water.
So in a way, asking for daily bread is also about trusting that those needs will be met, right? Not just the physical one.
100%. And that's where the whole idea of trust becomes central to this whole thing. And the transcript uses a really powerful example to illustrate the story of the Israelites in the desert living on manna from heaven.
Right. Every day, just enough food appeared. This image always stuck with me.
It's such a powerful metaphor for relying on something beyond ourselves, isn't it?
Totally. But I think for a lot of us, it's easier said than done.
Oh, for sure. But that daily provision, it was a constant reminder that they were being taken care of, that they weren't alone in the wilderness. They had to trust.
Which, let's be honest, is something most of us struggle with daily, right? Even when we have an abundance of food. I mean, look at how much we hoard when we're afraid.
Yeah.
It's like we don't really trust that there's enough to go around.
It's true. And the Israelites, they dealt with that too. Like if they tried to hoard the manna, it would just rot.
Wow.
It was this built-in reminder, I think, to rely on that daily provision and to cultivate gratitude for what they had been given.
That's a powerful message even thousands of years later.
It really is. And it leads us to the heart of what that daily bread really represents.
Because it's more than just that physical stuff, right?
Okay.
I mean, the transcript goes right to this whole Jesus's bread metaphor, which, to be honest, always felt kind of abstract to me.
It's one of those metaphors at the core of Christianity, you know? And it's right there in the transcript too, quoting John 6:35, I am the bread of life. So to understand what that really means, we got to go back to those deeper needs we were just talking about.
You're talking about that need for meaning, purpose, that feeling of being connected to something bigger. Yeah.
That's it. Those are the things we crave just as much as food sometimes, wouldn't you say? We hunger for them. And in this sense, Jesus is basically putting himself in that same category of what sustains us. He's offering that deeper kind of nourishment, food for the soul.
I get that. So is that like saying when we feel spiritually lost, like lacking direction or something, it's kind of like being spiritually hungry? And those teachings, that's where we get filled up.
That's a really great way to put it. And the transcript, it makes the super important distinction between the two. They say physical food, that's temporary, right? Fills you up for a bit. But Jesus, he's offering that eternal nourishment, something that lasts way longer than just, your next meal.
It really does make you think about what you're putting into your head and your heart, not just what you're eating. Like, what are we consuming that actually nourishes us on that deeper level?
Such a good question. And this brings us back to that whole idea of relying on something every single day. Remember, the prayer is for this day our daily bread.
Not like, give us a lifetime supply and we're good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we'd probably still want more. Okay, bad joke. But seriously, why that focus on each individual day? What's that about?
I think it's a reminder. Like, hey, be present. Find that nourishment today, right now. Don't get so caught up in worrying about tomorrow or dwelling on yesterday.
It's so relevant, though. Especially
Yeah.
these days. Everyone's so plugged in, always looking ahead. It's like we forget to just be in the moment.
Totally. And the transcript actually pulls in a quote from Matthew 6:34 here. It says, "Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. each day has enough trouble of its own.
Okay, we need that on a t-shirt or something. So true. But there's another piece to this whole thing, right? It's Give US. We've been talking about me, but this is about more than just our own needs.
Such an important point to make. It's not just give me, right? The prayer shifts from this individual thing to something much bigger and more communal. It's recognizing that we're all connected, that our well-being, it's tied to everyone else's.
It's kind of like we're all sharing this giant loaf of bread, and it only works if everybody gets a slice. Right?
Exactly. When we pray that give us this day our daily bread, it's acknowledging that our well-being is bound up with everyone else's. We're not separate islands, you know?
Which is tough. I mean, in our world, everything's about the individual, going after what you want.
It's true, but I think that's why this prayer is so powerful. It's this gentle reminder that real fulfillment, it doesn't just come from focusing on our own needs, but from making sure that everyone has access to their daily bread and not just the kind we eat, right?
So it's about recognizing those deeper needs in ourselves, A&D and the people around us, and realizing we've got a part to play in meeting those needs too.
Absolutely. It's about being generous, looking out for each other. It's about creating those systems where everyone's basic needs are taken care of. And honestly, it's about just being kind, showing compassion in our daily lives.
Wow. We started with, give us this day our daily bread, and somehow we're talking about our responsibility for each other. Crazy how much depth is packed into a phrase we probably all say without even thinking,
It's amazing, isn't it? These ancient words, they still hold up. They remind us that we're all connected and that we need something bigger than ourselves.
There's a lot to chew on.
Nah.
Never gonna look at a loaf of bread the same way again.
Me neither. Maybe that's the best part of this whole deep dive, realizing that even the simplest things can have such deep meaning.
I love that. A huge thank you to our Daily Bread for sparking this whole conversation. And to all of you listening, what does daily bread mean in your life? Hit us up on social media and let us know. Until next time, keep exploring, and maybe just take a moment to appreciate those simple things and the connections they represent.